Okay, so this match was in a modern competitive league. I think it was like match 3. You can see the history right there. Win, loss, and then that game 3 was a win. So it's, I mean, it just worked out pretty well, and I like it. So it's against Titan Shift, but I don't think he was actually running Scape Shift. I don't really remember. I think he was only running the Titan. So I decided to keep Leyline with an island and a Ghost Quarter, just hoping that I draw 1 white mana to get Wall of Omens, and I'd be totally set from that moment. But I get a little bit screwed and he goes really far ahead. But I mean, Leyline is really good against Titan Shift. Though, like, I don't even think I didn't know that it was Titan Shift, but Leyline is just good against like half the decks in Modern, so I figured it was a safe keep, or safe enough. But I finally draw out of the mana screw. Plop Wall of Omens, getting a bunch of useless Ghostly Prisons because he is ramping like crazy. So then he ends up playing Titan on turn like 4 or something like that. 5, 4, something like that. I think it's 4. So he can't shoot me, so he shoots a Wall of Omens. That's fine. I just play Ghostly Prison because there's nothing better to do with that 3 mana. So you can easily pay that, and then... But it doesn't really matter how many lands he gets, it just matters that I'm getting smacked for 6 and it hurts. I just play that one tap. The plan is to just stall with Cryptic. Luckily find a path off the top to deal with Titan. Unfortunately, fucking literally half the decks in Modern are now running Chandra, Torch of the Defiance, and it's awful. It's terrible to play against. More useless Valaka triggers. Yeah, I mean, like, even though I did end up screwed from my keep, I think I would have died a lot earlier if I didn't have Leyline. So there's Torch. So I know they usually do the first +1, and I know he's going to try to cast Relic because he knows I have Snapcasters. So I try to get him to shuffle by grabbing a path, but he doesn't really bite. So he gets the Relic. Fortunately for me, like, I don't even draw a Snapcaster anyway, because I only run 2. But people get really scared into taking Graveyard Hate against me, even though I only have 2 Snapcasters. To be fair, I also have a Crucible of Worlds though, so it's still probably a right decision. It's just not a great decision. So at this point, I just Ghost Quarter myself to grab a red source so I can set up the kill on Chandra and just gain some life too. He's just playing a bunch of creatures. So Chandra's down, I draw a Felidar. He surprisingly didn't just play the Primeval Titan. I don't really know why he didn't. But, I mean, I guess he didn't have to. Maybe playing around like Supreme Verdict or something. But I play the Felidar as a chump blocker, untap the mountain, so if I draw a path off of Remand, I can use it. I honestly don't know why I didn't Remand the Courser, but it ended up working out anyway. Because, well, I think I was leaving it up for Primeval, but he just decides not to play it, so I just chump. So another Felidar, so I just do the exact same thing and have another chump blocker. So I go ahead and remand it. He's obviously just going to replay it. And then he pretty much... Oh, wait. Yeah, he does still replay it, but he pretty much commits to not attacking this turn and just playing out everything in his hand. Because my last card was Remand, so it doesn't really make sense for him to play around Supreme Verdict anymore. The chances of me top decking exactly Supreme Verdict is not very high. So, unfortunately he just shoots my blockers, so I'm just dead on... Well, I'm dead on the next turn, so I need to draw a Supreme Verdict. Draw Spreading Seas, I try to draw into Supreme Verdict, but it just ends up being Leyline, second Leyline. So then we go into game 2, post sideboard, because it's really hard to beat Titan Shift without sideboard cards. Especially since I can take out the somewhat dead Ghostly Prisons. So I was thinking about Spreading Seas on the Forest, but he's easily just going to get access to green mana again, so it just makes more sense to save it for Valakut. So I just go with the Remand to set him back a turn and get through the deck a little bit. Oops. Okay, that's fine. Because I'm just basically trying to find Leyline and Nevermore. Oops. But luckily he does play a Valakut, so I just Spreading Seas that. And I draw my Crumble to Dust. The little button keeps moving around. I wonder if I can just hit spacebar. Okay, I can just hit spacebar, so I don't misclick. So he has, surprisingly, brings in Crumble to Dust against me. I never really have a chance to activate Colonnade because of how far ahead he gets on mana. But I guess he still saw it as a threat. And then I follow up with my Crumble to Dust. Kind of sucks that I already Spreading Seas that one, but still the best play on this turn. Just grabbing them. Yeah, he doesn't even run Scape Shift, but he's got the double Chandra, which is honestly more annoying. More Relic. Then he Summoner Packs, which is like... He doesn't even Summoner Pack for ramp or anything. He goes for a Tireless Tracker. All it does is discover. So that's why he loses. Because I top deck Arid Mesa, grabbed the blue. He knew I had Cryptic in hand, so like he really sort of played into that. It's not that crazy that I draw a blue source. So I just bounce that, and he doesn't have a way to pay for Summoner's Pack, so he concedes. And then game 3 is a masterful recreation of the same scenario. Oops. Okay, so I keep this hand. It's got my Crucible, so if I draw Ghostly or Ghost Squirter, I can just keep killing Valakuts. And then I can just Spreading Seas like his green mana or something to try to slow him down. Yeah, so that's what I go with. Of course, it's still nearly impossible to like actually keep them off a color. So I get kind of wrecked by Crumble again. It just went really fast, but that was all still the same turn. He's got like a turn 3 Chandra or something. And he just instantly pops a Relic, which is nice for me because he knew I had Crucible in hand, so it's weird that he would just pop Relic. I guess he really wanted to draw. Because now I don't have to play around it with Crucible. But that doesn't really matter because I'm more worried about Chandra than Valakut. So he avoids the same mistake there because he has the option to play summoners but does not. Just shoots me for 2, takes up Chandra. So I go ahead, play Arid Mesa, and I think I'm just leaving up Ojutai's command, maybe Counterflux. Also Aven Mind Sensor is a possibility. But I really wanted to Aven Mind Sensor because the Chandra, I needed to hit Chandra. But the problem is, if I Aven Mind Sensor and he happens to hit Valakut and a Mountain in the top 4 cards, which is not that insane, it's like entirely possible, a little unlikely, but I would lose the game to that if I Aven Mind Sensored here and he grabbed Valakut and a Mountain, because he would just shoot Aven Mind Sensor, he would have Primeval Titan, and he would ultimate Chandra. So I just go with the safest play of countering Primeval and drawing a card. And I get really lucky, get Surgical Extraction off the top. So I just take out all of his Primeval Titans. So all he's got is a search for tomorrow. And I draw Nevermore, but all he has is a search, so it doesn't really make sense to use Nevermore on anything. I mean, he's gonna ultimate Chandra, so it would make sense to Nevermore naming search so that he can't cast it and hit me for 5? Yeah. But I decided to just leave up Counterspell instead and leave up Aven Mind Sensor as well as Ghost Quarter. And so he goes with that, and he just knows he has to play 3 spells. So he has to Summoner's Pact for a cheap minion, a cheap creature, and then he has to play the creature and then play Search for Tomorrow to kill me this turn. So in response to Summoners, I Aven Mind Sensor, and then I also Ghost Quarter his 1 out of 2 green sources he has to pay for Summoner's Pact. So he has to find a creature to kill me this turn. He has to find a creature and he has to find a green land just to stay alive. And he finds a mountain. So he's dead to Summoner's Pact unless he can play search, right? Yeah, Search for Tomorrow. But even Search though, Search for Tomorrow would get cockblocked by Aven, so he just concedes, which I think he actually maybe had a chance. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a chance if he searched for green mana, because then on his upkeep next turn he would have another green source. But that's only if there was a forest in the top 4 of his cards, which is entirely possible. So it's kind of weird that he didn't go for it, but I guess he was getting tilted. And that was Titan Shift. I'm trying to remember what this match was. Maybe it's worth looking at. I just remember this guy kept saying I got really lucky, so that might be fun to watch. Okay, this is a pretty good hand just because it has more than 1 colored source. Oh, it's typical, whatever it's called, living in. So he's just cycling a ton of stuff. I plan to try to mess up his colors so that he can't cast Violent Outburst. So Stomping Grounds was the best choice there. Ghostly Prison is also pretty good against Living In, but it's definitely not game winning. It just gives me a little bit more time to actually react to him playing dudes on my end step with Living End. So I actually choose Saheeli over Ghostly Prison because at this point it's not like it's 50-50 whether he can even cast Living End next turn. And he can't cast it on my end step, so he shouldn't be able to kill Saheeli on his upcoming turn. So I'm fine with that. I get to use her at least twice. So now I go for the protection of Ghostly Prison. I don't really have anything to get with Snapcaster anyway. Get that Hot Scry to the bottom. There's Violent Outburst, can't do anything about that. And they don't even need to pay to attack Saheeli, so that's some anti-synergy right there, but either way, it saves me some health. Yeah, I think he realized there, see, because he could have attacked with all three and gotten 3 extra damage in on me. But he tried to pay for one of the ones attacking Saheeli. So, figure I'd just leave up Remand. I believe you can choose not to play something on Suspend, but I don't know if he knows that, because he played it like I was hoping for him to do. Because at first I saw it was on Suspend, and I was like, oh, he's gonna have to lose all of his creatures, and then I was like, wait, no, I'm pretty sure he can choose not to. But he did it anyway, and I just want to remand that, just because I want to draw a card, and I still have the ability to Snapcaster remand. Just trying to filter lands out of the deck with these fetches. More cycling garbage. So just tries to recast Simeon. Don't care to remand it because I could remand Living End again or something. So we just gain some life off of that one. Attention Sphere's like not awful, but it's really slow if they have Violent Outburst. So they now have access to green-red again, so they can Violent Outburst on my end step, and basically have haste on their entire graveyard. But he doesn't have it in hand probably, considering he just hardcasted that. So I shocked myself to leave up Snapcaster Remand. Just go ahead and D-Sphere the Street Wraith, just trying to reduce the amount of damage as much as possible. Plus, even though it's not a value D-Sphere, it if I draw a Felidar, I can always blink it and get more value. So it's kind of like playing it in advance. So after he living ends, I can just blink it and grab a bunch of one thing. So he hardcasts Simeon Spear Guide again. He probably has one in his hand, considering how many he's playing. So we just go for Saheeli here, still leaving up Snapcaster Remand. Put that on the bottom, because I don't really need any more land. Set 7, just slowly dying to Shocking himself and also Saheeli. So Demonic Dread. So he gets the Living End, but I go for that hot Snapcaster Remand action. And I'm hoping he attacks into my Snapcaster, but he doesn't. So we start off with the Scry to the bottom, and then we draw. And then we draw again. And we go ahead and draw our win condition. And he's got 0 mana to stop it, so just Snap Concedes there. Doesn't try to run out my timer. I believe he tries to run out my timer the next time I do it though, so... And that's fine. I think the time thing is justified victory. Oops. Kind of missed some stuff, but it was literally just a turn 1 Scry, so I'm sure it was straightforward enough. Basically just trying to draw the Rest in Peace and Supreme Verdicts, counterspells, but not getting any luck. A little flooded again, despite having Wall of Omens. So I'm already getting wrecked here. There's not much I can do. I'm just hoping I can draw Supreme Verdict. Block Horror in case he tries to do some shenanigans. I conceded right there. Because no matter what I did there, I was dead. So, game 3. So that was just a really quick, typical Living End game. Okay, so I've got Counterflux, so a way to stop Living End and not just get it back in his hand. So Hollowed. We never actually draw the Rest in Peace either, but we have some other answers. So we actually still don't even have Counterflux available because we don't have the double blue. There's Demonic Dread, a really early Living End again, but this one wasn't that great. So I just go for the path. I could draw a land for Supreme Verdict, so I thought about not playing the path. But with this, I have the option to Snapcaster Path on my next turn if I don't draw a land for Supreme Verdict. And if I do that, I could also path my own Snapcaster to make sure I get Supreme Verdict. But I figure he could just instantly right after that Violent Outburst. So I try to play around that by just actually pathing a dude. So I block there, path the big one. He ricochet traps, so like the idea that I almost went with, he just made it happen, which I'm totally okay with. I'm sure, you know, he had no idea that I have 3 Supreme Verdicts in hand. Actually, let's open this up. I know at some point he says GG dude, and I have it written same, because I knew I had Supreme Verdicts, so I just wrote same, but I didn't actually end up messaging it. I ended up waiting too long, and he ended up saying more salty things, so it was too late to say same. So just instantly Supreme Verdict there, and I know, like, I thought about Detention Sphering there, but he can, I think he can Living in response to Detention Sphere, and it works out better than with Supreme Verdict. But luckily I have a wall in the grave, which is why I was fine with blocking, I believe. I don't even remember how it got in the graveyard, but I'm pretty sure I blocked. I had the choice between a 3/4 and a 4/4 to block, and I chose a 4/4 because I actually wanted it to die, so I have a blocker up for Living End. And now is when it happens, for that reason. Especially since I'm gonna Supreme Verdict anyway, or I'm gonna D-Sphere. Because there's 2 of those things, and it makes, if he has a Violent Outburst in hand, it's terrible now. And, okay, there is GG bud. So, at first I'm like, does he actually have something to kill me? But, no. Supreme Verdict kind of put him out of the game already. There's a sad Simian Spirit Guide right there. So we go with Supreme Verdict number 2. Okay. And at this point, I'm just like, yeah, I probably won. Because he's already got 2 Living Ends in the grave. They usually only run 3 Living Ends. So that means I just need to play around the 3rd. So there's Violent Outburst. Oh yeah, and I like by playing around the third, I just mean leaving up Counterflux. So I overload it just for fun. No reason not to. So now he should have no living ends left, but I'm still kind of wary of a fourth one, just in case. So I got a hot blocker, and there's nothing to leave up, so I'll just go for the second wall. And again, nothing to leave up, so this is just to play safe around the fourth living end. Oop, I think it might have crashed. Okay. Yeah, sometimes these things crash for some reason, but anyway, living end, he started getting super salty, saying I had the luckiest hand ever. You know, the luckiest hand ever. I could have just drawn a turn 2 rest in peace, and he would have had no chance, but no, the luckiest draw ever is dropping to 5 and getting screwed on mana until getting like a turn 5 or 6 Supreme Verdict. That's the perfect hand. But, I mean, he can't really complain. His entire deck, like, it's a really crappy deck other than Living End itself. So once I get through all your Living Ends, you don't really have a reasonable chance. And those were the 2 ones that I won. The one that I lost was just awful. I don't even remember what it was. I guess I might as well check. I think I just remember dying very fast and not being able to interact. So I'll just let it play on high speed. Pretty sure it's just burn. Yep. Game 1 was like almost fine. I was kind of close to stabilizing, but I just didn't draw my enough of my life gain stuff. There's Boros Charm. So I just, yeah, I got a bit screwed there, like nothing happened. Yep. Ojutai's command just to gain life, draw a card, in response to Boros Charm, to play around Skullcrack. Got the option to take away white mana, but he's just got it all. He has the perfect burn draw. Like, all I needed was Leyline in the opener. Look at this, there's one creature. And it had a targeted ability. Like, Leyline would have been the easiest win. And then game 2 was just atrocious. I actually had the Leyline. But for some reason, he had Destructive Revelry. I don't know if I even played an enchantment in game 1. But I guess he just figured I'm white. So Destructive Revelry just takes away my safety net, and all I have are Spreading Seas as early interaction. So I'm just super dead. Yeah, too late for Ghostly Prison. Too late for everything. Because Boros Charm. Normally, I'd say I win against burn the majority of the time. I just got pretty dumpstered with luck there. But I still have some matches left to do. But I'm not good at live commentary because it's hard enough to like be ahead on time.